What is actually going on right now on social media? TikTok, I think, is dying. Instagram has a brand new algorithm. AI influencers are now here and getting brand deals. It is a wild place to be right now. And if you are somebody who creates content on social media, you are probably thinking, what am I actually supposed to do on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube? The algorithms are always changing. Everyone is telling you to do something completely different. But today, we are all coming together in the office of social media and content creation. And we are going to break everything down in a new segment that we're going to do. I want to regularly start doing a segment over here, maybe every month, maybe every quarter. We'll see what we're feeling. Called What Needs to Come Across Your Desk. And I have done so much research. You should see my notes for this. We've done a little bit of this over here before, but we're going to be going through the vibe of social, like what content is working, kind of like what creators are doing that's like really hitting right now. Then we're going to do a big State of the Union. Which social media platform is winning, what's kind of going on each, new platform updates, all of that. And then we're going to talk strategy a little bit too. I'm so excited for this. If you're new, by the way, welcome to Busy Blooming. This is your digital office of social media and content creation. Every Monday, we clock in and we start our work week together in the world of social and content. I have to say, I am like hopped up on cold and flu medicine today. This might be a little bit more unfiltered than usual today, but that's good energy because like what is actually going on social media? It's kind of crazy. One of my missions at Busy Blooming is to always keep you on the pulse of like what is actually working, what is going on social media. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm so excited. So let's just get into it. Let's clock in and let's go to work together today. Okay. So the first thing that needs to come across your desk today is that now you can create a voiceover simply from inputting a script without actually having to do the voiceover. And how you can do this is through Storyblock's new AI toolkit. It is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. We talk about Storyblocks all the time over here. I love them. I use them every single week. It is truly a one-stop shop to building your brand as a content creator. They have everything from stock media footage to audio, music, sound effects. But now they have their new AI toolkit and it is actually going to blow your mind. You can now generate a voiceover using AI. You can either clone your own voice or you can use another voice, but you can quickly go from script to voiceover. Not only that, but with their AI toolkit, you can also customize stock footage. So their AI video editing tool gives you full creative control to relight a scene, remove unwanted objects. So for example, let's say you're on Storyblocks and you pick a gorgeous sunrise B-roll that you want to use in your vlog. If you actually decide you want the sun to set in that, it will change it for you. Storyblocks at this point is just solving all of our problems as content creators, not only with their amazing library of diverse and high quality media for one set predictable subscription cost, but also now they have their new AI toolkit, which is going to change all of our lives. So to get started with unlimited media downloads at one set price and check out Storyblocks, go to storyblocks.com/Tess Barclay or click the link in the description. And thank you so much to Storyblocks for sponsoring today's episode. And let's clock in and get into the rest of the things that need to come across your desk. Okay, so first let's kick it off with a vibe check. Like, what is the vibe of social media right now? Going into 2026, I feel like the vibe of social media feels different than in the past. This is the first time for all of us, whether you're a content creator, freelancer, podcaster, influencer, whatever platform, this is the first year for all of us. We are kicking off a new year with our friends, ChatGPT and Google Gemini and AI. Starting in 2025, it was not like this, and we've never in the past experienced a disruption like this in our industry. Like, AI is obviously affecting every single industry, including ours, the best industry. So because of that, and we've talked about AI affecting content so much over here, but one thing I'm really noticing, especially like the beginning of this year, is that the vibe of social media, I feel like, is changing a lot. And imagine how tired we are. Like, it is changing every single month, every single day. It feels like there's a new algorithm, there's a new vibe. Like, what is working one day isn't working the next, which is why I'm here. But I really feel like because of AI, and I have a couple studies I'll pull, this is what I would do right now, okay? This is what I would do as a content creator, is I think the best strategy is to have a focused inner circle that has close friends energy with your profiles. I talked about this in the first episode we did of the series called 2026, The Golden Era of Social Media, that I feel like niching down, which I hate the phrase like niching down, pick a niche, like it's so boring, we're bored. But I think having these like quote unquote niche communities is kind of what your end goal should be. Like rather than trying to always, when you create content, like talk to the abyss of social media, you're trying to hit millions and millions of people, what I would actually switch and try to do instead is try to find and create your like inner circle of people that is obviously focused on certain like topics and interests, which we all know that. But I'm just feeling like that is what's working right now, is creators who talk to their social media like it's an inner circle, it's their close friends, and it's obviously like focus and niche down. The reason I say niche, and again, niching is not a topic, but it's fine. Niching is your niche audience, your niche market, but whatever. You should always niche down your audience, not your topics. But I feel like that's what's working. And when it comes to the vibe of like the type of content that's working, the styles that's working, I still stand by, I think that like polished casual content is in for 2026. And what I mean by that is like, you know, setting up a high quality camera, the content looks good, it's high quality, but the energy of it is casual. It's not like instructional, super highly edited, like all of that. It looks good, but the energy is casual. But as this year is beginning, I think it's a little bit deeper right now. I thought the effective AI would take a little bit longer than it's taking, but I think because of AI content that's popping up everywhere, content that feels extremely not AI is what's winning. And I saw this last week. For me personally, my content last week flopped. Like every single thing I posted last week absolutely flopped. So if you're in the same boat, like I'm right there with you. We have clocked into our shift at the flop factory last week on social media. But I love to film my content on this camera in 4K. I love editing. I love like the sound effects, all of that. And I have another theory as to why the content didn't do well, which we'll get into in the algorithm section. But my content looks, in my opinion, extremely high production. It's giving Oscar worthy. I was actually getting comments on TikTok of people asking if this was AI. Like it looks fake. The quality is like too good. And then I tested out filming content just like on my front camera on my iPhone, did so much better. Saying literally the exact same thing. My energy was the same, what I was saying was the same, but the front camera iPhone like looked good, but I think it looked human. And that's what I'm getting to. So I am feeling this huge shift, both for myself as a creator and a consumer, that like funny, unserious, unfiltered, casual, inner circle, close friends energy content is winning. It just is. And I think that applies in two ways. I think it applies in the style of content of like your filming setup, your editing, all of that, but also in the energy of your content. I've been talking for months about how I think like tips and how-tos and 5 ways and this like aggressive teacher expert energy, I think that's going to fade. I think it's fading already. I think it's fading so much faster than I thought because of AI and because of what people are wanting to consume on social media. And so unserious content, like funny content, I think is back. And that's what people are really, really wanting to see. You really, truly do have to think as AI is a competitor in the space of content. It's like a creator that you have to kind of compete with. And our competitive edge as human beings is just that. It's being human. It's being unfiltered, which we've said before. I got a comment on an episode a couple weeks ago that I wanted to include. I thought it was so interesting. And the comments on these episodes are always so interesting. Everyone clocks in. They have like the best thoughts and ideas. So this person said, social media used to be used to be social and connect with others. And now every single person is turning into a brand. I feel like everything just feels performative. And I think there's going to be a shift of people wanting to be more human. The concept of people turning into a brand, I thought was so interesting. And I think that is also something I'm personally trying to unlearn, and I think we all should try to unlearn, is that you want to have a personal brand, obviously. You want to be known for certain things. You want to be known for certain topics, whatever it is. There's certain content pillars and things that you have, things you don't want to share, etc. But you want to be careful to not turn into a brand. You want to still be a person. And so to make this a little more tangible, let's say, for example, there's a creator who's talking about their plan to get fit in 2026. Like that's their inner circle. That's their brand as they talk about fitness and the gym and workouts, workout sets, maybe like all of that. Instead of like setting up a gorgeous camera, saying like, here are 5 ways to get fit in 2026, or you have the hook of like, you're going to fail because of this reason in 2026, instead of having a really highly edited, well-produced video with that kind of vibe, instead I think what works better is going outside, plugging your headphones, talking to your front camera and saying, almost like starting the video like you're mid-sentence and you're talking to your inner circle. You're talking to your friends instead of talking to the abyss of social. That's a big change. And you say, in 2026, I really want to get my dream body. My plan is to do this, this, and this. Rather than your value being education, I think what's working is your value should be in relating and like relatability. People connect. Like your value is in connection. It's not in education. So what that means is your content maybe is a little bit more inward focused right now. It's a little bit more about your journey. You're really truly not trying to talk to 1 million people. You're trying to talk to the 10,000 people that you think might be on the same journey as you. You're not trying to teach. You're trying to like relate and share and connect. I personally just feel like that is the vibe of what's working. I also just think unserious content that's like funny. I feel like Vine, not to age myself, but like Vine energy is coming back. Text on screen that's funny, kind of like breaking this fourth wall. But that is the vibe I'm feeling for content right now, for social right now. I pulled a bunch of articles, a bunch of studies. I'll link them all down below. But Metricool did this amazing study that someone actually threw in HQ. It's a whole like State of the Union of 2026 social. One thing they pulled is that audiences in 2026 are experiencing content burnout from overly perfect AI-generated content. And so as a result, people are craving like slow social. And so long-form content has been making a huge comeback in the last like 6 months or so. YouTube views are up 76%, which is great news for everybody on YouTube. But also people are getting fatigued from this like perfectly curated content. We get enough of that with AI. Research also showed that unscripted videos where maybe your hair's kind of messy, you're like behind the scenes, you're unfiltered, gain more traction than rehearsed versions. So this kind of obsession with like hooks and the perfect hook and the perfect script, I would recommend just like throwing all that out. I would say just throw it out. Like, why do you need a script? You don't need to create a perfect hook, a perfect script. Have the topic and the main takeaway and just talk. Maybe film it a few times. They're also saying like flashy edits are getting outperformed with spontaneous content, like when you're walking the street, when you're having your coffee. And also the heads of Instagram recently said, in a world of flawless AI imagery, professional looks, like content looks professional, has become the tell that content isn't real, driving creators to go back to a more raw aesthetic. So I'm so glad that last week I spent so much time filming and editing all my fake AI content. All this being said, this is what I would do. This is the action item for the week for the office. Pretend that your social media, you're talking to an inner circle. Try being unserious, unfiltered, still focus on your brand and your topics and all of that. But don't talk to the abyss of social media. Talk to the people you want or are already in your inner circle. I have a content idea that we'll get into later, but try to film more casual content. Casual doesn't mean like low quality bad content, but start your content like in the middle of the sentence. Stop scripting it. Stop thinking about the hook. Stop over editing. Use your front camera or your back camera. Like still make it look good, but have the tone, the style, the vibe, the energy be this unserious, unfiltered, human, messy style of content. Try that out this week and see how it goes. I'm going to be doing this week too. And I think that is the vibe right now with social. We'll see in a month or so when we do another one of these, if that's still the vibe. Okay, now let's get into a technical State of the Union. We're going to get technical now. I hate doing this. I just feel like it sucks the soul and the joy out of content when you talk about algorithms. Every time I hear people talking about like the algorithm or the hashtags or post at this time or all the like technical stuff, I just feel like it makes me sad because social media is like so deep. You're like creating an impact, creating a brand, being creative, but this stuff is important. So we're gonna get technical for a second here. Again, this is like 5% of what matters. The algorithm is important to know. We're all at work. We're in this industry. You got to know the technical ins and outs. But I just want to say, don't let this overwhelm you because it's a little overwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so we're gonna kind of go platform by platform, obviously focusing on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. But first, I wanted to pull some stats just to do a State of the Union of like Where are we right now with influencer marketing, social media? Okay, so I've said this stat before, but according to Goldman Sachs, there are 50 million content creators around the world right now, and the creator economy is worth roughly $250 billion, which is wild. Also, this isn't from Sprout Social now. As the industry soars, algorithms are becoming more niche, which I 100% agree with. We saw this last summer when YouTube removed their trending page. The fact that YouTube removed their trending page, and they even said they removed it because they know that users want their niche algorithms. My entire algorithm right now is heated rivalry, but also social media, content creation, all of that. So your algorithm, yours and mine and everyone's algorithms who's watching this is all different. And that's what social media platforms are knowing, which is why it's so important to have this like niche audience, niche community, inner circle vibe. This was kind of interesting. This is kind of a side note, but Goldman Sachs said that only 4% of creators around the world pursue a full-time online career. Out of those 50 million, 4% are full-time, which is kind of interesting. And they say that 96% really do view it as like a side hustle. This is also interesting. More than half of people between the ages of 18 and 60 said that they would quit their jobs if they could become a full-time influencer. And then this is interesting. 9 in 10 marketers said that influencer content outperforms brand content in terms of engagement. And 83% of marketers say that influencer partnerships perform better and like convert more sales than like their own branded ads and things like that. One of their predictions for 2026, Sprout Socials, which I thought was interesting, is that influencer discovery and sourcing will be rooted in topics, not demographics. We said this in the first episode of the series a while ago, that brands, and I know this as a fact, I have friends that like hire influencers, work with influencers and like pick them. They aren't even looking anymore for if you have a female audience or your audience is in Toronto. Like they don't really care about that. All they really care about is the topics that you talk about. And so everything is just becoming more niche. Brands want to work with niche creators. They would rather work with a creator that has 10,000 followers where you talk about social media and content creation, all of that, than a creator that has 1 million followers but they don't have a specific thing that they talk about. Not to say that you have to talk about one thing, which you guys already know what I think about that. You can talk about multiple topics for the niche audience. Like you could talk about social media and mental health and the business side and your life. Like, okay, anyway, there's lots of things you could do. Okay, so that's a bit of the state of the union of the industry. Like we're in a good spot. It's getting bigger, which we love that. Now let's get into each platform and go through the algorithms a little bit right now because they're a little wild. Just a bit of a state of the union on the monthly users on each platform. So Instagram, 3 billion monthly users, YouTube 2.85 billion, TikTok 1.9 billion. So it goes Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest 600 million, then Threads 400 million, which is kind of shocking, honestly. Substack 30 million, and Substack is expected to have 60 million by the end of 2026. And then of course, Facebook is the biggest one with 3.2 billion monthly users. So the order of the users on the platform goes Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Threads, Substack. Like that's how it goes. Not to say that that's where the most creators are, but that's just where the most users are every month. Facebook, I think, is probably the most untapped platform. I know so many creators who make such a big income from Facebook, but I know over here most of us are on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Okay, so let's start with Instagram. Like what is going on right now with Instagram? What needs to come across your desk? So a bit of an overview, we already know this. Instagram, the best way to grow is through the Reels feed. The Reels feed is dedicated to go to people who don't follow you. So to get in this feed, the best way to do that is to post videos that are under 3 minutes. If it's over 3 minutes, it only goes to your followers, or carousels with or without music now. They go in the Reels feed. You also obviously can grow from the Explore page as well, but I personally just think the best strategy, Instagram videos under 3 minutes or carousels. On Instagram, you can use up to 5 hashtags now. Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, recently came out and said hashtags don't matter. Basically, like if you're using hashtags, you're a big loser and they don't do anything. So we love that. Speaking of the algorithm, Instagram just launched a new feature that I have, which is that you can customize and tweak your algorithm. So this I think is very interesting in a lot of ways, but basically an overview of what it is. This came out on December 10th, 2025, is that now you can go into your Reels algorithm and see and control what it is. So you can actually see what your personal algorithm is, and you can select certain interests. You could say, okay, I want to see more about social media, beauty, skincare, vlogs, like whatever it is. The way that they're describing people's Instagram is so confusing. You also can share your algorithm to your story. This is what mine says. Lately, you've been into crafting engaging stories, planning dreamy escapes, and staying on top of style trends. Like, what does that even mean? I've been into crafting engaging stories. Like, ChatGPT, is that you? But you can select, I want to see more of content creation, weddings, concerts, humor, etc. What this means for us as content creators is that it is just so important to categorize your post and ensure that Instagram knows what you're talking about. But then again, using hashtags is big loser energy, according to Adam. So how are you supposed to categorize your post? This is another reason why I think my content flopped so hard last week, is that I have always been such a big fan of casual captions. I feel like your caption is an additional hook. It's another way to kind of be funny, connect with your audience. But because hashtags don't matter, and also I would say the text on screen I don't think matters as much either. The reason why is using platforms like Rella, where you can auto-publish your content. It doesn't affect the performance whatsoever, and you're not putting any text on screen into that. And I have seen that in real time. So what this actually means is when posting on Instagram, your reel, your carousel, hashtags, use 5 hashtags, whatever, make them specific, great. What you should actually do is really focus on your captions, loading up the keywords. This is through the sentences that you say in there. First line, I think you can make it funny, something people would want to comment on, unfiltered, not ChatGPT coded. And then in the rest of your caption, I would make sure there's like keywords in there. Like, for example, if I was doing like a video on my hot takes about social media, the first line might be something funny, but then the rest of them I would say, these are my hot takes about social media in 2026, what's trending on social media, how to grow in social media. Like, I would do a second kind of annoying paragraph or a couple sentences that really do keyword highlight my content. Also, I would actually do this to your bio as well. I would ensure your bio has some sort of keywords. This is like the most obvious take ever. People say this all the time, but just double check. Like, okay, does my bio have any sort of keywords of what I talk about? Because the Instagram algorithm does take your bio and what's in your bio into account when pushing on your content. Like, if your bio says content creation coach and someone has gone in there and said they want to see content creation content, it's going to be clocked into the algorithm that your name has like something like that. I personally am finding that Instagram is the easiest platform to grow on right now, at least for us at Busy Blooming. We threw out the kind of lower quality front camera video on our Instagram. It has 21,000 views. Carousels that are very like savable, shareable are working really well. The number one indicator KPI that Instagram looks for is saves and shares. So if your content is savable and shareable, repostable, Instagram like loves that. They're all about, being social, DMs, all that. So I'm finding Instagram is probably the easiest because I feel like it's accepting the most content. It's loving carousel. It's loving messy, longer content. It's loving text on screen videos. So I don't know. I'm like loving Instagram right now. Trying to think of your Instagram profile again as a focus, clear topics, inner circle with a mix of styles of content, I feel like is hitting. Again, keeping what we just talked about this like unserious energy, but I think that's like what's working, honestly. This was kind of interesting. This is from the Metricool report. They said that carousels get over 3 times the interactions of single image posts, but they're the least used format across all users on Instagram. So people are mainly posting video and single image posts, which I thought was kind of interesting that they get 3 times the interaction of a single image. So every time you're going to post on Instagram a photo, just like add a second one, Okay, let's get into YouTube. YouTube, I think, has been the most stable platform out of all of them. The main way you grow on YouTube, as you already know, through the homepage. Your video needs to get clicks. Click-through rate is the number one thing that matters. And then once people click, their retention. That's the second thing that matters. So people need to click on your video. They'll find it through the homepage more than search. And then they need to keep watching it, obviously. It has been that way for a while. I think what's working on YouTube right now, again, casual titles, one thumbnail that's like one photo, I think is working. And titles that are like anti-titles, funny titles. This has been this way for almost a year at this point. One sentence, lowercase, like funny, casual, breaking the fourth wall titles. There is a new feature in YouTube called Ask Studio. It's their new AI assistant where you can go into your analytics and be like, why did people watch this video more? How do people find my channel in this month? Which is kind of cool. It helps you like understand your analytics better. YouTube has so many analytics and it can be a little overwhelming. So I love that. YouTube Shorts, I think, is really starting to gain traction. I've seen so many creators grow from YouTube Shorts, get plaques from YouTube Shorts. I think they're starting to actually build a good algorithm. I also saw someone in HQ posted that they posted a carousel on YouTube Shorts, and they're seeing carousels on YouTube Shorts. So YouTube Shorts, I think, is a good place to be in 2026. I would just repost what you're posting on Instagram and TikTok to YouTube Shorts. I wouldn't create for it. I don't think it has its own unique algorithm quite yet compared to Instagram and TikTok, but I think it's a good reposting platform in 2026. YouTube's stable. What was working 6 months ago, I think still works, which we love YouTube for that. YouTube, I think, is the best platform to be on in 2026. I think it is the future of social media. It's the most stable. Whether you're a podcast, a vlogger, you do advice videos, whatever it is, I just think YouTube is like the best platform still. Okay, lastly, let's talk about TikTok. So there is actually a new TikTok algorithm right now, which again, imagine how tired we are of all these new algorithms. So this is a little nuanced. The ban and the sale of TikTok finally happened at the end of last year. And so basically right now, TikTok is split into two worlds. There's a US only algorithm. The deal was basically that Oracle was going to retrain the US algorithm from scratch based on US data. So ByteDance, the Chinese company that used to own TikTok, when Oracle got TikTok, it wasn't the whole TikTok, it was the US data, like the US side of TikTok. So what they're doing right now is actually retraining the TikTok algorithm. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this. I think this is so interesting. I pulled this article from CNN. So basically, under the TikTok deal, the new ownership will receive a copy of the algorithm code from ByteDance, review it, and then retrain it on US user data. And Oracle will continuously monitor how it's pushing content to users. So right now, they're kind of retraining the algorithm. So I personally, takeaway from TikTok, the algorithm's a mess. Whether you're in the US or not, I think if you were noticing your content on TikTok is not doing as well as it has been, I feel like there's a good reason why. We don't know how long this will last. It's like retraining of the US algorithm. I'm based in Toronto in Canada, so I don't know exactly like how this is going to affect all of this. There seems to just be a lot of question marks when you look into it that I feel like they don't even really know either. So TikTok right now is a bit of a mess. What I think is working on TikTok, again, is this like casual, unfiltered, all that stuff we've been talking about. But what I think this means for us is that I think Instagram and YouTube are just better places to put your time and energy into than TikTok. I think TikTok, I could see it really personally. I could see it dying off in 2026. According to the study, TikTok views and users are dropping rapidly. TikTok views right now are dropping by 17% on average. There's also TikTok Shop that's overtaking. AI generated content is really on TikTok. This new algorithm shift. I just think it's a bit of a mess. Personally, what I would do as a creator, post on TikTok, like create for TikTok, post your casual content like we love, but really focus on another platform. I would not put all my eggs in one basket on TikTok right now. So that's the state of the union of the different social media platforms. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. YouTube is the best place to be. Instagram is the second best. TikTok is a mess. Okay, this episode is getting so long. I was going to touch on AI influencers, but let's do a whole separate episode on that soon because I was deep in Reddit and people were talking about how they created AI influencers. Like, it's actually so crazy how more people aren't talking about this. So I'll put a pin in that and we'll do that in the next coming weeks about AI influencers because you will find it so interesting. And I think it's something that absolutely needs to come across our desk. Okay, I don't know how you're feeling. Are you feeling better about social media? Are you feeling worse? How I'm personally feeling about it is that it's a really fun time to be on social. All you got to do is focus on creating your inner circle on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, your niche market, your niche, focused, inner circle, unfiltered. Talk to those people. Front camera, carousels, share more of your journey, what you're experiencing. Your value is in relating to people, not educating, your journey, your humanness, all of that. Like, it's a fun time to be on social. It's unserious. I feel like a lot of us have to unlearn, myself included, so much of like being so polished. I've been catching myself too of like being more unfiltered and being more open of like, okay, here's what I'm trying. Like, what are we feeling? This is my mistakes. I really want to share more about my journey, with my ways I've like lost money building up a business, mistakes I've made growing the podcast, what I'm trying on social, like just more, more stuff like that. Being together. We're all in this together. And that's the vibe we all need to have on social. You're in this together with your community. Okay, let's wrap up the meeting of the day. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're feeling. State of the Union. What needs to come across our desk has come across our desk. Let me know if we need this like every month or every quarter. I'm thinking every quarter more. Let me know what you think of this segment. I think it's so fun. And now let's get into the content ideas of the week. Okay, so here's my first idea of the week. Obviously, if you're in Busy Blooming HQ, you've already got your full content ideas report. Every single week on Sundays in HQ, I drop a gorgeously formatted content ideas and trends report of at least 7 ideas of what's trending, ideas for the week. I build your content calendar for you. So go check out Busy Blooming HQ. So the first idea of the week, this is our homework for the week or action item as an office. We're going to go outside. We're going to plug in some headphones, or we're going to have a little microphone, and we're going to talk to our cameras with one hot take. Okay, that's the content idea of the week. This is the hooker we're going to use. I have a hot take about blank in 2026. I have a hot take about fitness. I have a hot take about social media. I have a hot take about 75 hard, whatever it is, fashion trends in 2026. It's still the new year. It's January. It's going to be casual, unscripted. We're not talking to ChatGPT about what to say. Film it a few times, but go outside, walking outside to your headphones. I have a hot take about blank in 2026. Say your hot take, 30 to 60 seconds, casual, text on screen about what you're going to say. Text on screen is the opinion. Caption loaded with keywords. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to be messy. We're going to be casual. It's for our inner circle this week. Okay, and then the trend of the week. I just need a moment on this podcast, okay? We need a moment to come together really quickly to talk about heated rivalry, okay? I'm not going to go into it because this is a social media-based show. But on social media, my entire For You page, which I have built brick by brick, is heated rivalry edits. I am in a heated rivalry psychosis. I'm in a cage of edits on my social media feeds that I never want to leave. I love it here. I actually don't know what's going on in social media this week. It's heated rivalry. This week, a trend of the week, if you are watching this show, is to mention it in your content. You could do this with a video of you working. Text on screen says, trying to focus on my social media clients, but all I can think about is heated rivalry. Your motivation to work out is the heated rivalry edits. Like linking it back to your brand and what you talk about, but I'm just saying, easy win for the week. Mention that show if you're watching it. I have to say, the first 3 episodes of the show, I didn't love. But then the last 3 episodes, again, sent me into the psychosis where I have never been so obsessed with a show in my life. I could go on and I won't, but heated rivalry trend, text on screen related back to your brand that it's all you can think about, I think is an easy win for the week for all of us. Okay, let's get into after hours. Let's clock it at work. We have a voice of the week, and then I want to say one thing about January, so let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I want to say before we get into the voice note is that I want to remind you that January is planning month. It is so easy to feel behind, I think, right now, because we're halfway through January. Today's the 12th. I'm literally filming this the day it goes live. It's going to be up a little late today. But January is planning month. Like, January is fake. It's a 30-day trial. In my opinion, I said this in HQ, everything you do in January, you're just gathering data. Like last week, I wanted to try a week of super polished content to see how it goes. And we all saw how that went. January, for me personally, I have such a detachment of what I'm posting, what I'm doing with content, because I'm really trying to fail fast and learn quickly of what's working and what's not. It's data month. It's 30-day trial. You could archive content. I've already archived 2 of the posts I did. I'm still trying to figure out my exact content pillars, my content strategy. I haven't even finished our full business strategy, our content strategy for 2026. Me and Maddie are going to do a content vision boarding night. I'm going to try a bunch of different styles of content this week. January is planning month. By the end of January, it's when you have your goals done, your vision board done, because you've tried and tested a bunch of things. I've even felt when I'm posting certain types of content, I'm not even loving the topics I'm talking about. So I'm going to switch those out. January is just 30 days, 31 days to try everything out and test. And by the end of the month, you're okay, I feel like I've got a good foundation of I know what works, I know what doesn't, I know how I'm feeling. That's how I personally treat January. We're being messily consistent. We're starting not ready. We're not overthinking. We need to learn by doing, not learning by thinking. So I just wanted to remind you of that in case you're feeling behind or like everyone's ahead of you, everyone has it together. I am not done my January 2026 planning. We still got a couple of weeks. It's early. The year has only been here for like 12 days, you know? So I just wanted to remind you of that and maybe provide some peace. Okay, let's get into the voice note of the week. If you're in Busy Blooming HQ, we now have a voice note vault where you can drop a voice note. I'll go in there every week, grab one. And so let's play the voice note. This is from Emma.
Hey Tess, my name's Emma Grace. I've been a member of BBHQ since last summer and it's been amazing. I was one of the first few members and I've loved my entire time here. I've learned so much about posting on long form, which is something that I definitely struggled with. My biggest platform is TikTok, which has like over 180,000 followers, but my YouTube was something I wanted to intentionally grow in 2025 and on. So I joined BBHQ for help with that and I've made so many amazing plans and amazing steps and I've done a lot of action and I love your January message. My only issue is that I feel like the more I post and the more I try, the worse the analytics actually get. I do not know how to explain that, but it's like the more I try, the worse the numbers are. Can you please give me any tips on how to feel motivated to keep going? Because I genuinely don't know if I can do this anymore. Love you. Thanks so much.
Oh my God, love you. Okay, this is so real. Also, thank you, Emma, for being here. I know you. You were like one of the founding members of HQ. The first 100 people who joined, they have like a founding member tag. You have been here. Also, 180,000 followers on TikTok is absolutely amazing. So, okay, this is so real of like posting more. Like the more you post, the worse the analytics get. Especially on YouTube, it can be so disheartening because the effort it takes to make a YouTube video is so much effort. Like the filming, not that it doesn't for short form, but it's just different with YouTube. The long form filming, the editing, the posting, the thumbnail, the title, the description, like the hashtags, the monetization, like it's a lot of production, a lot of time, a lot of energy. And so when YouTube content flops, it really does like crush your soul. One thing I will say about content is the reason it feels hard sometimes is because it is. It's not easy. Growing on social media is not easy. It's actually quite deep, and it can be simple. It can be easy. Eventually, you're in a flow state at a certain point, but it's always changing. Look what we talked about today. It's always changing. And so, if you are a creator or a brand, a freelancer, whoever you are, you have 10 million followers, you have 0 followers, whatever. If you're feeling like it's really hard, it's because it is. So for your question of like, okay, how do you just like keep going when your YouTube content is like continually flopping? I would always try something completely different and view it as data. It's just so hard, like so hard. But really trying to detach your emotion and your value as a creator in the analytics and really truly view it as data of like, okay, I tried this video with this thumbnail and this style and this title, it didn't really hit. We're going to try something completely different next week. Okay, that didn't work. Try something completely different. It is actually excruciatingly painful to do this. This was my experience on YouTube a couple of years ago of every single week you're trying a different title, a different thumbnail, a different style, a different hook, a different length of video, a different topic. Okay, you're trying like every single week you're trying. And it is really, really exhausting, but once you figure it out, it feels so good. It can take a year of trying and testing, but eventually you will figure it out. What you don't want to do is fall into this trap of posting the same thing every single week, the same vlog, same thumbnail, the same sit-down video every week with the same title, the same thumbnail. Like try different formats, different styles, different thumbnails, different topics maybe. Like just keep trying and testing, because eventually you will figure it out. You eventually will. I feel like the easiest content to create is like a 15-minute sit-down video with a really opinionated, bold title and a very simple thumbnail. It's like a screenshot with a little bit of text that has like another opinion. That's, I think, a really good formula for YouTube. Try that out. But take the win of 180,000 followers on TikTok. You're absolutely doing amazing. And just keep trying. I'll be right there with you. I know it's frustrating. I know it's just like, can be so isolating. You're looking around at everybody else. Just keep looking at it as data. you're getting more and more data points and more learning. I downloaded this massive report from YouTube Analytics, threw it into ChatGPT. You also could do this in Rella as well. They have like such a good tool for this. Get it to see any patterns, because sometimes the AI easier than us can see patterns of videos that are hitting and why. But try to have fun with it. Be like, hey, we learned some data. We got some information that's not working. Let's try something completely new. But you got this. It's tricky. It's hard, but we'll figure it out together. Okay, I think that is it for today's episode. This is a long one. I had so much fun doing this. I hope you feel like informed or on the pulse. You have everything that needs to come across your desk, came across your desk. But let's just have an amazing, casual, unfiltered, unserious week in the world of social and content. If you're in Busy Moving HQ, I'll see you tomorrow. We do our Tuesday lives at 12. We're going to do a content planning session tomorrow, which I'm excited about. I'm going to like share my Notion and plan a week of content for next week together. So bring your content calendars. I'll see you in HQ tomorrow. If you're not in HQ, I'll see you on Monday next week. And let's have an amazing week in the world of social and content. Okay, bye.